This is my review of Fight Island 5 that took place in Cape Town last night, and the action kicked off with Timm, the winner of the Fight Island Road to Pro amateur scheme. He fought Lithalethu Sodinga and he won by TKO in the second round. So really good start for him as a professional. Looking forward to seeing how he goes in his career. Next up, another super middleweight, Dillon Solomons, no stranger to the Cape Town audience, and of course no stranger to the Madfit gym, because he used to be trained and was part of the Madfit team. He was trained by Matt Leishing, who is the co-promoter of Fight Island, and he beat Andile Mntungwa, which is a really good win for him. Andile Mntungwa used to be, or he was a former South African super middleweight title challenger. He's had a good career so far, and he's a hardened professional, and I think Solomons will be very happy with that. He puts himself up there in the super middleweight rankings and in the conversation. Of course, the fight was headlined by a super middleweight South African title clash. After that, Ariel Mezeraci of Madfit Gym, he fought Takalani Rameudi, and he won a unanimous decision. It was a new weight for him. He's fighting at welterweight, so he's come down in weight and looks good, looks strong, and also looking forward to seeing more from him. He goes to 4-0. I think he'll be very happy with that. After that, we had Nocele, and he fought hardened veteran Sabelo and Ngebiyana. Now, Sabelo and Ngebiyana has been around the block, and he has fought the best, and he is really, really good. So Nocele beat him at a catchweight unanimous decision, and I think you'll be very happy with that. He's probably one of the top prospects to come out of Cape Town. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens with him next. He's definitely going to put himself up there in the rankings. Next up, so Simon Dladla having a resurgence. This guy, I think a few years ago, he was he was a junior middleweight champion of South Africa, and he fought Rourke Knapp and got KO'd. He then fought Shavonte Koopman afterwards and got KO'd, and then he fought another fight and got KO'd after that. So he lost 3 on the trot. I would have thought, geez, this guy is a spent force, but no, he's come back. He's had 2 wins, a loss, and then another win, and now he fought Emil Brits, who was 6-1 going into this. And in contrast, I would have thought Emil Brits, he would have won this, and he would have been very happy to have a former South African titleist on his hit list and on as a notch on his belt, but it wasn't to be. Looked a bit like a wrestling match at times. I think it was really good wrestling from Simon Dladla at one point, but yeah, he won that fight and puts himself back in the title contention, back in the conversation, and yeah, really, really happy for him. Sad for Emil Brits, but he's a fighting man, used to be a kickboxer, and I'm sure he'll be back on our radar soon enough. We don't lose, we learn. So yeah, next up, this was a short fight from a guy who's really making waves in South African boxing, not only for his fighting, because he's a really good fighter, Prince Tristan Naidoo, and he beat Sikalele Xhatasi. This was a step up for him. I think Sikalele had a much better record than some of his previous opponents, and I think you look at Tristan Naidoo and think, what's he really about? He's taken 2 bad losses in the past. You'd wonder, why? Did he not live the life? I mean, he certainly has a lot going on outside the ring. But let me just say one thing: if you're a young fighter around the world or in South Africa, but especially if you're in South Africa, and you can't rely on promoters' purses and the money that you make out of boxing, you need to watch this guy and the way he promotes himself, the way he pushes himself on social media, super media. This guy is excellent at what he does outside the ring, and he showed last night that he's pretty good at what he did in the ring, because he knocked out Xhatasi in the first round. He made very easy work for him, and you don't get paid for overtime in this business. But yeah, watch him. I mean, you can't not. He's posting reels all the time, and they're funny as anything. But yeah, he's a really good fighter, and yeah, the lightweights take notice, because this should propel him up the rankings, and I'm sure he wants to take a shot at the SA title soon enough. Co-main event, Mlata he's probably the top prospect to come out of Cape Town. I'd say he's probably one of the most talented fighters I've seen in a long time. He fought Bongani, Mahlangu. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? You know, I don't love this for matchmaking because Mahlangu was a 2004 Olympian. You know, so he was in Athens in 2004, and I think Kaya Mlata would have been about 3 years old. You know, so he's probably forgotten more about boxing than Mlata knows at this point in time. He's a slick fighter. He's one of South African recent legends of the sport, and big respect. But he was outclassed and, you know, was made to look old, and got knocked out in the end by Mlata. I hope that he kind of calls it a day on his career, or maybe has one more fight just to get in the winning bracket. But yeah, Mlata, you know, you can only beat what's in front of you, and he beat a hardened professional in Mahlangu, and I look forward to seeing what they can do with him next. I do think he's probably a worry for anyone at the top of the division. So maybe they want to start looking at importing some international opponents for him. He needs to be busy. He needs to be working. He needs to be learning. But yeah, he's exciting, and I think if you watched the fights last night, you would have enjoyed that, because he really put on a show. And on to the main event. So Dillon is the new South African super middleweight champion. He won in front of his home fans last night. He can be exceptionally proud of that. But unfortunately, the fight did not come without controversy. I think in the build-up to this fight, you wouldn't have even heard Snamiso and Ntuli's name. And I'm sure most people in that crowd last night wouldn't be able to name his last three opponents. Now, interestingly, you would think, well, his last three opponents, 1 loss and 2 wins, but his last opponent was a loss against a tough Namibian, and he really fought a good fight last night, and you can easily argue that the fight could have at least been scored a draw, but I don't know. I mean, if you look at the judges' scorecards, you would be pressed to think that Snamiso and Ntuli won that fight handily, because one judge scored 117 to 111 in favor of Ntuli, the loser, and the other two scored in favor of Dillon. Very close scorecards between the two of them as well. But Dillon, you know, he got the win. He's the champion. I would say it'd be interesting to see if he honors Ntuli with a rematch after that, or if he goes a separate route. And we all kind of wonder, because there's another guy in the super middleweight division who fights next weekend, in fact, and I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to speculate too much. I want to give Dillon his moment, but yeah, I think we all want to see who he fights next, but I'm pretty sure most people would want to see a rematch, especially in Ntuli's team, who were incensed afterwards. I don't think there was a lot of argy-bargy that happened after the fight. There's a lot of kind of trash talking still today on social media, which is what I've picked up on. I know there's been calls for one of his teammates and current South African middleweight champion, Terence Khumalo, to fight Don Madge, former MMA champion. I'd pay to see that. But yeah, this has been a long one, but an interesting one nonetheless. I don't often review South African fights because there aren't that many, but they're starting to come thick and fast, and I want to do more. As a South African, I'm very proud of the boxers that come out of our country, and you know, I want to keep pushing the agenda on that. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Please like and share and comment. Love to hear your thoughts on this. And yeah, we go again. Let's see. There was another big fight last night at Boxing 5, Carnival City, South African Heavyweight Championship between Sean Porchetta and Chris Thompson, and I'll be reviewing that too. So yeah, have a great Sunday, everyone.